Hello and welcome to another edition of the Hold the Lane podcast. Here's your host, Alex DrPuppet Weber. Today I'm joined by these two guests on the right and the left side on my left and right side. Like, I can do introductions like really well. So today the topic will be business in esports, and for that I invited my two beautiful guests, Jacob motherfucking Braille Wolf. I should redo that.
No. I was like,
This goes with the outtakes.
hold on, if he's motherfucking Braille Wolf, I'm Colin goddamn Nimer.
Colin goddamn Nimer.
Yeah, come on. If we're getting those kind of titles in there, I need to
You know,
Colin goddamn.
Jacob from the Daily Dot. He's a reporter for the site, and on my other side, I don't know which side you are looking at right now, but I have Colin, not goddamn Nimer.
Not god damn it. See, that's why I call myself that. That's my favorite swear word.
You
Anyways,
won't get that from me. And this guy, you should know for his beautiful Jargon Mall article for Team Liquid, and also he's a writer for Gold Pretend and Esports Go. So welcome, guys. Would you like to tell a bit more about yourselves? Like, I know you guys, but maybe some guys that are watching this show right now might not know you. So Jacob, do you mind to start a bit about yourself?
So I'm a reporter for the Daily Dot. I work there full time. I used to work at Esports Heaven and Gfinity, and then I moved to and did some freelancing work at Gold Pretend. I started working at the Daily Dot in early April and have been there since, and plan to be there and hopefully move out to Austin pretty soon. So, yeah.
What about you, Mr. Goddamn Nimer?
he keeps throwing these curveballs at me. I can't even keep up. It's beautiful. I love it. Okay, so I am I suppose I could say amateur writer within the scene, in the sense that I don't get paid regularly for it, but that doesn't stop me from producing content since it's my hobby at this point. Really enjoy doing it. Interested in making a career out of it. How? Don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Been working in the scene for about 7 months, since the end of, or more like the middle of December 2014. So when I made a bunch of changes in my life. I started writing with goldpretend.com. After my first article, Ryan Tang, the site director, picked me up. He got me in the Skype chat. I think it was either a little more inclusive at the time, like they were more interested in getting other content creators out, or maybe, I don't know if it was just the quality of my work, not sure why, but he brought me in. That kind of started me in this whole process. I got it on board with the Liquid Legends writing crew as a trial writer. I think I'm official now. I'm in the official League of Legends, Liquid Legends writer chat, so I think I'm official, boys. And I also got picked up by esportsgo.com, so that's the three main sites that I'm working for. I specialize in looking at the Korean scene when I get around to watching it. Bit of NALCS on the side. Currently working on a couple of business opportunities, both as analyst work and shoutcasting right now. Jacob and I just got done with our first take at casting. Very fun time. Really enjoyed it. Voice is kind of destroyed over it, but that's fine. It goes all night.
We're good.
I hope
we good.
We
and
can talk
here I am now
hours.
with yeah. And
This
then,
beautiful
we're
voice
good
here,
with
right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, you can see we can have a little bit fun while working in esports. It's normal over here, so join us and have fun by doing freelance work like me and Colin, or just no,
just don't quit your day job yet. Don't quit your day job yet.
No, better not. So jokes aside, we're gonna talk about business in esports. Like, well, Jacob, you are the only one getting paid here, so I think you are the only one doing it, right?
Hey, now I got bucks from one Gold Pretend article, so I mean I made my own money off of this.
Okay. I got 3 times front page, but I never got paid. So I guess I'm doing everything wrong. No. Jokes aside, again, like, I don't know. I'm inspired today. I'm really inspired. I'm inspired to do the jokes right here, so I can match up with you guys. Like,
Dank memes.
Yeah, thank memes, man. And so first we're gonna talk about content creation. Then we go to talk about the topic professionalism in esports, and of course one situation called lack of money in esports. And so we're gonna start, since we all start as a content creator for a freelance website, or simply just did some freelance work. So Jacob, do you want to share to everyone here your story? How did you become a content creator?
Okay, so I am a high school graduate who is studying CIS networking, or was rather, studying CIS networking in college. I had always kind of been into League. I've been around since season 2, actually playing slash watching the game. I was never really into writing growing up. I know that sounds kind of weird. I actually hated it until about my 11th grade year in high school, which was 3 or 4 years ago. And then I felt like I wanted to start doing a little bit more writing and try my hand at it. My 11th grade English teacher was a professor at Clemson, and she had left Clemson to come teach at a high school in Georgia, and she kind of inspired me to try my hand a little bit more at writing. And then a couple years later, obviously last year in October, November, December, I started looking for somewhere to write. I applied to GG Chronicle. Where else did I apply? Paravine, Daily Dot, Gfinity, a few other places. The Score before they actually launched their department, and I didn't get a response from anyone. Was pretty demoralized in terms of trying to find somewhere to write. I had done a few music reviews on music websites, but nothing really too impressive or like out of the blue. And I hit up Drexen, who is the editor-in-chief at Esports Heaven, and I tweeted at him because I had read an article of his on High, and like High from Cloud9. And I tweeted at him and I asked, "Are you looking for writers?" We talked. I was making income from my radio station, and I also had a day job, of which I don't anymore. And so I told him that I wanted to get my hand at it. I basically told him straight up. He did offer me commission for articles, but I told him I really wasn't interested. I just wanted to try it out. It wasn't too big of a deal for me. So I did free work there for a bit. Then I wanted to do feature work elsewhere, and I met the Gfinity guys. Their pay rate is insane, so thank you, Gfinity. Did 2 articles there, made a little bit of money in esports, and then I did a piece of work with The Score, with DoRaven. I did 1 piece there, and then the following week I signed with the Daily Dot. So
You have a long history.
It was a lot of struggle. Yeah, it was, and that's all over like 7 months. So it's like
over 7 months.
It was
wow.
quick. So
if you compare that, that's great. Yeah, that's true. So, Colin, how long have you been working on your content creation so far?
I feel like there's, when I talk about my content creation, I have to kind of divide it up into 2 different areas, because this isn't the first time I've gone into content creation as far as like building my own brand or video game stuff. When I was, I want to say about 15 or 16, that's when I first had my foray into content creation as a YouTuber. So I've had my channel for some years now, and the first thing I ever did, which I posted to the internet, which was related to video games, either in video form, was Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2. The video game had come out. I remember being really interested in playing like Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. It was a very difficult game, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to play it. It looks like fun. It was action. It was ninjas. I mean, those things kind of appealed to me and my tastes. So when Sigma 2 came out for the PlayStation 3, I was inspired by this guy who, I don't know if he's done anything else with YouTube, but his YouTube channel was Master Ninja Guide. He called himself Rhyme, if I remember correctly. And he did an entire walkthrough of Ninja Gaiden 2 on Master Ninja mode. And I mean, it was fucking insane how difficult the game was. And I wanted to kind of match that by doing the Sigma 2 guide. Now, back then, this is when YouTube was young, so you didn't have a whole lot of content creator videos, okay? I'd say at the time, we were ending the point where... I know the history of Call of Duty because that's the next thing I moved into, where, some of the names like Hutch, Wings of Redemption, those are kind of like the names. You're doing the casting, stuff like that. And this was like part of the first wave where it was the cool thing just to talk over the game. It's like, oh, wait, this guy's talking over his gameplay, explaining what he's doing. That's where personalities were beginning to form, and this is before a later stage of content creation, which I think I'll go into when we talk about content creation. So I came in at that time. I did the Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 thing. I did a couple other video guides. I have a bunch of Red Dead Redemption videos that are still getting viewed a little bit. And then I went harder into Call of Duty because it was my first multiplayer game. It was something I got interested in. I had a group of friends I kind of played with online, made a lot of videos about that, and that was my first hand at making video content. When I moved to college, so I moved out of home, got my own place in the college town. I decided to stop content creating for Call of Duty and YouTube videos because I was pretty sure people didn't want, like my roommates and stuff, didn't want to deal with my yelling because I was a very loud and angry Call of Duty player, as most 16, 17, 18-year-olds are want to be. So I stopped from there. I still enjoy talking about it, though, and I enjoy teaching it. And it was at college where I was actually introduced to League of Legends. This was at the start of Season 3, so end of Season 2. I had a friend up in where I left home, a hometown high school friend. He wanted to stay in touch with me, so he said, hey, here's this game we could both play, so I got into that because of him. My brother began watching the LCS because he got into the League of Legends as well. He showed me LCS. I remember watching, it was like Curse or something, and Logan just fell in love with Void Boy very early on, my brother, Logan. And then from there, I got into the competitive scene. I kept up with it. And I think when I really began League of content creation, or the idea of it, was I started a club at the university I worked for. Didn't get to do a whole lot with it because I started the club, and then suddenly my schedule worked out to where I was graduating. After that, that's when I sat on it for a bit, and then I decided to begin writing in December after I graduated with my bachelor's degree. So here's Jacob, high schooler, graduate. I'm getting paid full time. Here I am, bachelor's degree, slaving away at Wendy's. Here I go. There's the economic. I signed up for history, so good luck getting a job unless you go further with that. But I took a break from education to make some money, see what else I could do, and I just said, you know what, I want to see if I can write about League, and that's really what led me to the point I am today, and I've already given the recap of where my content creation went. So I've had some experience with content creation, but as far as writing articles in League goes, less than a year with that, but I've had probably 5 or 6 years of writing from an argumentative standpoint because of the education I went through. And I use a lot of the tools I use for history with League of Legends, so that's my background.
So nice. The studying history part was good in a sense. Well, so we all start different. I mean, I even did some projects back in the days. I can show you later my cool project when I was 14. Like, I was playing Counter-Strike beta and I was fucking awesome. I got killed by any noob, but I was good at the game, I think. Well, in the end, we are all here because we all have the passion to do content creation for a game we love, or because simply we love being creative and doing content around it. So if someone would ask you, how did you start out? Like, I would say, okay, if you want to see where I really started out, I just asked Torin on Twitter if I could interview him, and he said fucking yes. And then it went off. Then I continued at it. I took it serious and went for it. How would you explain that to someone? How can you start as a content creator? I mean, I'm a freelancer right now. Colin's a freelancer right now. But Jacob, you managed somehow to make it your job. It's something that's still hard and kind of rare in esports. But if someone would ask you that question, how would you answer it?
I think the biggest thing about content creation and getting started is kind of believing in yourself. I think I had been able to write at a pretty decently high level for 2 or 3 years before I had gotten into what I do now, and it took me a long time to come around to believe in it. And it's kind of like that for everything. It's like, am I going to be good enough to do like casting gigs? Like, and it's self-confidence that you have to build up to be able to do it. And then once you get a little bit done, then approach a site that has a little bit of pull, that can help you out and has a decent editor that can, go through and make sure that you can like have good edits and your work can be pretty on a good level. And then I think once you have a strong portfolio, it's good to start networking. I think that's the biggest thing is networking. I'm a very extroverted person, which I think is kind of how I got to where I am because
Or how we met
like
each other.
yeah, yeah. Like I went to mid-season invitational like about a month ago, and I went in and like we went down to the press room, and then they like had us in this like bunker under the stadium, and it was literally just like giant room full of like Chinese people, Korean people, Americans, and Europeans, and I literally just like started walking around. Hey, who are you? Hey, who are you? Hey, who are you? It's like, you know, you never know when those connections like will come in handy, and I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of content creators don't do is they do the work. I've met plenty of content creators that do the work and have good work, but they're so afraid to meet people, and it's like you have to have the self-confidence to just introduce yourself to someone. That's the biggest thing. So,
What's your take on this, Colin?
No, I do agree with it, especially considering what the state of content creation is now. So I hinted at this in my little background, and I'll just kind of keep it a little brief. So I think that whenever you come into a scene, there's kind of like a stage of development it goes through in terms of how to get into a scene as a content creator. There's like the imminent stage where to be a content creator, you just got to be in there. You just got to produce content, and you'll be picked up. You'll be one of the guys who's like first. That's kind of like when I made the comparison to like Hutch and Wings of Redemption as far as like certain kinds of COD videos go. But eventually, at one point, it's not enough just to go on in and be it. Suddenly, you have to diversify and find a niche for it. That's kind of why you see people branch off, do other things. With Terraria League of Legends right now, that's why you see people who diversify into regions. Like you got Chinese experts, some people who work on Brazil, NA, EU, a lot of guys there, Korea. And then there's, like furthermore, like, do you write about it? Do you coach for it? Do you look to analyze for a team? And you begin to build up more of a scene like that. So you have to find the niche that goes within it, and then you have to find how you perform that niche and find out how you do it. What is the mark of Alex's work? What is the mark of Jacob's work? What's the mark of a Colin's work? That's how you kind of have to begin to structure it and begin to build it up, because it's not enough just to go in anymore and be like, here, hey, I do this thing, and people are like, oh, he does this, no one else does this. And then you get to a point where it's really becomes stagnant, where there's like, okay, there's, people figured out how to get into the scene, the format's clear on how to do it, you get like avenues to approach from it, and so then anybody can go into it. Anybody can do it. Heck, I literally sat down, I had no other connection, and I was a kid, well, still am. I was a guy who loved watching Summoning Insight, who enjoyed watching Korea, like loved talking about it and all that stuff. And I looked at Gold Pretend, and I made an account there, and I decided, you know what, I want to write on, I think it was Tristana. I think this is the first article I ever wrote was Tristana's rework. I just wrote that out, and then suddenly, next thing I know, I reactivated like a Twitter account I set up like randomly a couple years ago, repurposed that for my content creation. Ryan Tang found me on Twitter. He brought me into the Skype chat. Then suddenly I'm talking to these other content creator guys, and then kind of went from there. I'm working with some Liquid Legends guys, as I said, and now I'm in this podcast with you guys. It's mainly because of like the connections and stuff from that. In fact, Alex actually introduced me to Jacob, who has given me some wonderful opportunities to meet some people. I've talked with Kelsey one-on-one a little bit about some of the research I was doing. He got Monte Cristo to notice me. Thank you, senpai. Stuff like that. I was like a squirrel girl that night. That was better than Christmas.
yeah, dude.
But it's like you have to build those connections, and you have to kind of find a big deal. Because it gets to a point where when the scene starts, and I'll wrap this up really quickly. A scene starts, you can do it, and you'll get everybody's attention because there's just not enough people doing it. When you have the community developed to the point where it has, especially in terms of content creation, you got to get in with people and be noticed by like those established individuals. So it's not really about finding the audience; it's about finding the people who will get you to the audience and going through there. Yeah. It's kind of more like a top-down environment where it's like you appeal to, to the Richard Lewis's, the Monties, the Thorns, whatever. You get their attention, and then they'll say, hey, you should like look in this guy, and then you can get your own fan base going. And that's my perspective on it, where the stage of content creation is now. It's about get started, get your own niche going, but then you do have to do the networking like Jacob said, and you can get a lot of opportunities for it.
My kind of debut in esports actually was like literally talking to Richard Lewis on Trash Talk, and then it was like we started talking via Twitter, and then it was like, hey, like
I know this guy from Trash Talk.
I was like, I'm gonna go write somewhere, and then like I did my first leak in February, and it was like it was oddly enough, it was Nintendo's after his health issues, he took back the break from Fusion, and I got really shit shamed for that by a lot of people I know nowadays. And it's like no, he's not leaving, and then like 3 hours later, Fusion announces on their website, and I'm just like, thanks. But and so I had already met a few people just doing like event previews and like champion discussion, and then like that was the start. And then like the Corey story was a week later, and then it was just the rolling snowball of meeting people and connecting, meeting sources and stuff like that.
You don't even know the website Into Law anymore? No, that was a German website, and there I wrote my first articles. Do you remember the season 3 European ban wave coming to the first LCS qualifiers where Incarnation got banned? I wrote an interview with Schleier about that topic, and also announced the bans for that side at that time. Nice. So that was my first connection with esports, but I couldn't continue because of school there at the time. So like my school was about to end like last year, so I randomly tweeted at Torin. I'm not kidding, and I understand that schoolgirl feeling from you, Nimer.
We all been there
because like I was just I kind of want to interview people. Like I don't know, I want to try it out. Like I was in class, I just pick up my phone, I'm gonna do this, fuck it. I tweeted in 5 minutes later, I see this message, fuck, he said yes. Holy shit,
it's like, wait,
how do I interview people?
Yeah, I mean that's literally it's literally just having the balls to start talking to people. Yeah. A lot of people are like, a lot of esports people are very introverted and they like don't talk. Like even a lot of your like bigger personalities in private, and I won't name names, but a lot of your bigger personalities who are like, hell yeah on Twitter and like meme and like joke around, they're so quiet when you talk to them one-on-one, and it's just like, well,
I know. I think I know who you mean, but it reminds me. It reminds me how we met each other, Jacob. I just randomly tweeted at you. I don't even know why. I just tweeted at you, and we started discussing something on Skype. Then I don't even know. It was some random league stuff. And see here, I got you on my podcast. Here we are talking like friends, like we've never done anything else. And I think that's what we take. Like, I mean, I get shit on by people for my content. I get people noticing that they think my content's good, and maybe I get some comparisons with other YouTubers or other content creators. But hey, all in the end matters is that you do it for passion, and if you keep improving, you get there. And then networking. Keep that in mind, guys. Networking is very important. So like we all just met because of networking. Like I remember the first team I coached, I got Colin as an analyst. Do you remember that even?
Yeah, no, it's really hard to forget. That was the first position I held for as long as I did.
It was basically 1 week because the team disbanded 1 week after. And then from that, I got to another coaching positions, and here I am. I can say I'm a coach for League of Legends. Who can say this from my friends? Nobody. And, well, that's how we get started. And leading that, because Colin already talked a bit about it, and Colin, you're not calling goddamn Nimer, you're calling schoolgirl Nimer now.
Sailor Moon Nimer, you know. That's
oh God!
Or something.
Gross.
Ron, you can't. You're gonna make something stick to me. I'm gonna own it. It's the thing. Yeah, I'm gonna turn your fire, and I'm gonna absorb it. I'm like Natsu from Fairy Tail. I'll just eat any flame you throw at me.
Jacob,
like it's my fire.
Why did you want Colin in this show? Why? Okay, guys. Let's keep it serious, because we have a very serious topic coming around, and it is how to break through as a content creator. Because I mean, Colin already said that you have to find its niche, but like I would say that from my own perspective, like I don't do anything else than maybe Torin or Monte Cristo could do as well, but I do it on my way, right? I do it on my style. I prepare it on my style. I focus on our points. Then maybe I'm a mix of both. Maybe I got this from him, got this from him, but in the end I have my own style. Like, and if you take me as an example, if you had to criticize me on how I could make that my style get brought out to people, so I find my fans, I find my group of viewers, what would you give me as a feedback? Like, how do I get more viewers on my content?
I still think that kind of fits in that networking niche. Because, like, I know one thing I try to do that a lot of people, like my peers, don't do is I try to interact with everyone on Twitter, unless they give me reason not to. So, like, if there's a dude that's like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Then I'll be more than happy to answer them. But you can't do that with everyone because some of them are just looking to like bait you and then be like, "Yo, you're a fucking asshole," and it's just like, okay. Well,
Yeah.
but yeah, always try to give everyone the time of day, and I think that makes people feel a little bit more genuine with supporting you, because if you're a genuine person who wants to talk, because like, look at it this way, like 8 months ago, I did nothing. Like,
Yeah.
I was just like anybody else who would read Reddit every day, see what Richard was posting, see what Thorne was posting, watch something Insight, like that was me. Like I had no purpose in esports besides just being the viewer/reader for broadcast and
Enjoying the
written work. Yeah, just enjoying it, and I wasn't trying to be someone. So it's like, yeah, I mean, some people just want to have discussion around what they like, and I think that if you have the time to do so, you should very much do so.
just get your name out there in the end.
Yeah, just be a genuine person. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. So
Yeah, help out other people too. Like,
yep.
because we're talking about like how introverted some content creators are, really being the extrovert shows and gives you more opportunities, because it seems that there's this environment where, okay, since this is like a video game hobby, things like that we're going to get people who are a little more asocial when it comes to interacting with the others. So
Yes.
if you could be the first person to step across that boundary, then you can open up a lot of opportunities with that. And I think that's why let Jacob get into the position where he's in, because he's not shy, because like, or Alex, for example, when it comes to some of his content, it's like you guys just have the balls to really go for it occasionally. Whereas me, I'm a little more, I definitely fall into that asocial category when it comes to meeting people. I have a little bit of anxiety over the internet when I meet like people don't necessarily know. Although, like, you put me in a chat room, I mean, I'm going to voice my opinion at some point. But like, kind of like randomly going up to Twitter or like saying, "Oh, hey, are you looking for this kind of a thing?" I have a harder time kind of trying to sell myself. That's my own read on myself. But definitely look to do that and reaching out to others. If you want to really get friends with anyone in the industry, help them with their work. That's one of the best ways to do it, because then you show interest in them and what they produce. You can help them out with that, and then they'll remember you for that.
We are good examples actually for that, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean,
Yeah, I would.
we
very
all
much so,
helped
yeah.
out each other in the end.
Yeah, Alex took an interest in making sure that I was doing okay, so he introduced me to Jacob, which has broadened my opportunities per se. I just need to find my way to use that and
I
pursue
should get
that.
a tag good guy Alex here.
yeah, I'll
Guy,
get that.
Alex.
Yeah, no, and honestly, it's like Jacob said, it's important to get those connections, because honestly, to build a career almost anywhere in the world, really, and in any industry, I'd say at this point that's developed, you have to kind of build it off of the backs of other people. They kind of have to help you up through it, and so you have to learn to navigate through the social. I don't even know what word I want to use for that. You have to be able to get that network in place so that people will recommend you, because if it comes down to you and another guy, you're both equally talented in a field, any position is going to go to the guy who someone can vouch for him, someone who can speak for him, someone who can say, "Hey, this guy's good, he's going to be good." If you two are absolutely equal, whoever has the most connections is probably going to win on out. Not that it's necessarily a competition, even though in some cases it can be for some positions. But you definitely need those connections in there, and best way to do that is just get involved with other people's works, help them out where you can, and see if they'll help you on out too, and do some collaborative projects together as well, and be
Nice.
bigger than just you alone. So that's definitely my feedback.
I just got a writer a job, so hey, as we're having the podcast, it's like, hey.
Yay! Why wasn't it me? No.
Okay, I just wanna
I'm sorry.
chime in.
I'm sorry. I haven't earned it yet. I will say that. I haven't earned it yet. So. Anyways,
Okay.
very good. Glad that you did that.
So I just want to say sorry for the Skype noise, but my Skype keeps turning on and off. And hey, I'm sorry for that, but I can do this now.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go for the. Colin, why you keep doing that?
Why do you keep calling me beautiful? I don't know what to do anymore.
Don't you remember that one time we recorded an analysis on a game? I think it was a Team Liquid game, and you said about the haircut thing, and then I made that joke. I hope it looks great. And then you thought we're gonna use the camera or something like that, and then it became a running gag between us. All right, yeah.
So long.
Wait, let me turn that off real quick. I hate Skype, so sorry for that. It turns on alone, so yeah, you saw my Skype messages right there. Okay, no, I can't even cut this, but well, never mind. So we continue on the next topic, we're still in content creation, and now I'm gonna talk about something that maybe we all considered at one point, and was one thing that might have brought us to stop our hobby, and it's the lack of payment and struggles as a content creator. Because where I find myself, I'm at some point, I don't earn enough with YouTube or anything. I don't have a job in content creation, and sometimes it's hard because you don't get the viewers you expected to get on your video or on your article, and I think you all can relate to that. So what do you think about the state of this in esports, Colin?
Okay, so of content creation in esports, the state of it?
Yeah.
As far as like popularity and building a new brand goes, because we do have to, mention that we're talking about building up a new identity in here.
Sure.
So again, I think we're in that stagnation point where there's so many ways to go get content out, and there's so many people who, for lack of a better term, really just like flat out suck at it in some regards, that there can be quite, like you have to kind of find sift through so much, like, okay, who's actually good, who's got like dedication to it, who's got really good editing approach, things like that. One of the most, if I had to nail like 2 factors to give you the best chance at it, it's to okay, I could phrase that really troll, but it's to find the tools that you can bring into it, which will make you more like effective. Okay, like I mentioned that I'm a history major, okay, and I got my bachelor's degree. All right, so what the hell does that have to do with esports? Well, for a couple things. It's taught me with a writing course, so I know how to structure arguments. Yep. I mean, when I graduated, I was like a magna cum laude student, so that's like a 3.8 GPA. So I did fairly well for myself at college. I know how to structure an argument, so that means I know how to look for evidence to what supports an argument. I know what is a counterpoint to the argument? How do I address that? How do I acknowledge that? I know how to research. I mean, I'm doing so many things that I would do for research papers or huge projects that I had in class, but I'm doing it for esports. Instead of spending 2 hours in the library combing over a book or going through some primary documents if I had the ability, instead I'm hitting up like lolesportspedia.com. Use that resource, by the way. It's amazing for research. I'm going there, I'm looking up VODs, I'm looking at like statistics and whatnot. Hitting up oracleselixir.com from time to time because he has a great collection of stats there, Tim. He actually is helping me out right now with some stat collection. And really find what you can like learn from life and kind of apply it to it. That's a concept I think Thorne related to in his Grilled interview when Monte grilled him for the series. It's like, take this aspect of your life and apply it here, and then you can be stronger in more areas than one. So getting the training for it is important, and seeing how you can apply it and seeing who you can learn from, definitely. The second big point, as far as developing the brand codes, because one of you guys mentioned earlier, one of you guys can like have a really good content, really solid piece, and then like it just doesn't get the views. No one gets really recognition for it. That's when you really need to learn not only networking but marketing. There's one guy, SuperBN, all right? He works with goldpretend.com. He's one of the first guys there. Right now, he's busy making like so much goddamn money with Verizon. It's pretty cool. But, he's really slowed down his concentration, but he still likes to talk about League, all that stuff. But what he'll do, okay, is that he'll come on in and he'll know exactly what the community, like, what topic is the community in a buzz about, okay, what do they want to know from, and he'll go write an article, and it's a pretty solid article, okay, but whereas, some other guys can write these articles here, they get maybe 1,000 views on Go Pretend, he'll break like 70,000 views, like consistently, like every article he does, and he doesn't write that often either, and it's not like he's this huge name in esports, or he's got like this position within it. He just knows exactly what the community is really interested in and writing about it. He's so good at identifying what is piquing people's interest and identifying that it gives him a lot of views for the article. If he were to commit more to esports, I think that he could, do fairly easily get a writing job in it right now. I mean, that's not really how it's looking to go for him. But there is that issue of marketing and how people want to do it, especially when it comes to timing things. Like, I'll give you this example here, okay? So we had Fionn on Fire. He put out Boxing with God Part 1, okay? I'd be willing to put money down that you will never see Part 2 of Boxing with God unless two cases happen. One, Faker wins World Season 5. Maybe. The second case, which is, like, definitive, Faker retires. When one of those two instances happen, Fionn will put out that second part of the article. Because that's when Faker's apex of popularity is going to spike, and it's going to be like 200,000 views or something like that.
Yeah.
That's when it's really going to pick up. He could write it whenever. He could write it right now, maybe have a decent, okay conclusion, maybe hike up Faker for Season 5 Worlds. He could have written it at MSI, maybe, whatever. He could have had any spin on he wants. But he's not going to put it out until it's at the apex of the timing of popularity. And that's what's going to get him like the views. That's what's going to make it a really successful, popular article, I should say. And that's really what you have to kind of learn. It's like, what's the issue going on right now? And I've stumbled into that a couple of times. First big article, jungle diversity article. Some guy posted on Reddit. It got 40,000 views. It was a month old. And that was because I talked about jungle diversity. And then a month later, jungle diversity was a huge topic. This is before Cinderhulk was introduced. My second big article, and my biggest still, is the Jargamaw. No one had really wrote a comprehensive article on it. And, I mean, we had checks advertise it on Reddit. We threw in some cute pictures that would get people's attention. We worked our ass off making it look really good. And it did really well. And that was named because of the marketing behind it. I could have put it up with Gold Pretend, same article, same page work, would not have gotten the same response just because of the marketing behind it. That's a skill that you really have to learn as a content creator.
Images are a big deal. I make all of my own, and like you have to make nice images for people. I used to work I still do, but I used to work for record labels, and I still work in the music industry now. But the biggest thing is like you have to have a fucking nice album artwork for people to listen to your stuff. Because what do they see first on Facebook? They see your album art before they click on that YouTube video, before they click on the SoundCloud link. Like everything they see is album art. It's the same shit with esports. You have nice art. People notice it while they're scrolling their Twitter feed. Click your link, read your stuff.
Yep,
that's all about appeal.
Yep, that's why I used a very nice, scantily clad Beachbody Riven article when I did my Smeb Riven article, because I knew the sex appeal would bring it on in, baby. You know what happened? I got the Thorn retweet, baby. I like to think that he did it because of the Smeb, the carry top laner, just thought, oh yeah, look at him killing Impact when he was on a scrub team. But nah, it was all about that Riven Beachbody, baby. We know it.
Don't worry. I read it all through just because of the image. Don't worry.
Yes. Can confirm. Riven bikini worked.
I mean, I never read your articles. Never. Never.
Hey, I mean that's
Damn.
Why should I read his articles? I mean,
that's a very good question.
No, but it's like I don't think you are wrong about that. I think marketing is more important than even timing in the end, because you can put a good content anytime. Like, it don't need to be like the most usual thing. Or you're bringing some news, like Jacob, you can rely to that. If you're bringing some news that are like very hot topic, like I had the chance I got the news like here for the enemy case where they got offered a huge amount of money, like $1 million just to buy out their team. Like, I got it, I saw it. Okay, I'm gonna write something about it. People need to know this. Like, front page, 50,000 clicks, and that's all about it. Like, I mean, you work with a very more professional website in a kind of sense that works like a journal in like a newspaper in the end for esports, right? And I think you can rely more to that. That's not only timing, connections, and even the marketing behind it is important for a journalist. So would you try explain what you do as a reporter in the end for the Daily Dot?
Writing and reporting the news as a story.
Well, he's still a
Literally
student, as
goes
you see.
everywhere with me. Anyway,
Gotcha.
no, I mean, like, obviously, there's the whole, like, meet a source, you know, source tells you something, then you go and talk to other people, then you talk to the org, and you do all that wonderful stuff, then, you know, the classic org gives you no comment, bash you, no, just kidding, a lot of orgs don't do that, but thank you, CLG, I love you. Anyway.
Thanks. Now I never get any CLG news again. Thanks.
Hey, Shoutouts learned the new phrase for him. So.
Yes, clickbait. Anyway, so.
I love Alex's reaction. You can't even tell it.
Anyway, no, I think, like, honestly, the Daily Dot is, they weren't originally into esports. They did expand into esports. One of our chief reporters, who is a former professor or teacher assistant at Syracuse and professor at Ithaca College, went on to, he was one of our chief reporters, and I think he has a bachelor's in history and a master's in journalism and online journalism. So they asked him to take over and run the esports section and be the chief editor, or like forgot his managing editor. That's what his official title is. And start bringing people in. And this was in late 2013, early 2014. And so around the same time that they started to get more than like Samuel Engel, who's one of our main feature writers, Richard left Esports Heaven as editor-in-chief, and they extended a pretty hefty offer to Richard to come to the Daily Dot, and he took it. All he has to do is write, which is really nice, and salary, so that's great. But yeah, I mean, like, it's talking to sources, it's making sure their information is credible by cross-referencing, trying to find things, you know, wherever I can to make sure that, you know, what they're telling me is accurate, and then sitting down and writing it and giving a lot of context. So, like, the reason I'm reading that book is because I want to get really, really better at, like, telling a story while also, you know, putting breaking news out. So,
Well,
yeah.
Nobody stops learning, even though you're the best. If you can keep learning, you will still keep being the best or even getting better. So never stop learning, guys. So, well, now I think we can summarize the content creation in esports is still a mess, but it's definitely worth it if you have the passion for it. But we can take on the next step, like, about professionalism in esports. So, like, we are doing this podcast right now. This is, I would say, kind of professional as I can do it. The best content I can do it right now off the bat, like improvising 2 hours on a show for 3 people instead of 4. You know how it works, right? Because people decided
Typical.
we have to cast a few games now, so yeah. Professionals in esports.
Shots fired.
They didn't even contact me that they are doing this. I was so mad, but it was worth watching. So you should come by to see the Mangaka at Twitch. They sometimes these both guys here tend to stream a few games and commentate over it. But well, what I wanted to talk is throughout my career, I worked with a lot of people. I worked with a few organizations, and one thing that always stood out is the lack of professionalism between organizations, professionals, or even the people that are willing or wanting to work in the industry. Like, I don't want to say anything about the orgs I work with or call out any names, so that this is not professional at all. So we're gonna keep that.
This is where I roast.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
We're gonna leave all that to Jacob right here.
Okay. Jacob, just take over.
Just take over.
No, I think one of the biggest things is that a lot of people in esports are very young, and a lot of them don't understand how to work in a professional manner because they haven't been doing this for a long time. I mean, hell, like Reginald is early 20s, and we've seen some of the debacles he's had with Thorin and Monty, which aren't too great, but he's changed his ways, he's learned, and every dealing I've ever had with Reggie is actually really straightforward and really professional. But It's not always the same. I think the notion towards content creators, writers in general, is that they're conniving people that just want page views. Raise his hand because that one's one that's thrown at me every day. It's like I don't know. This is my job, and I like don't get paid off page views, so it's like I don't know. And a lot of people just don't understand it. So professionalism in general is not great. There's certain orgs that do stand out. I'll give a few shout outs. Cloud9, Gambit, Fnatic, TSM, Tempo Storm. There's a few others that I'm sure I could name that are just very straightforward, and every time you want to talk to them about something, they're pretty open to do so. So props to those guys, Renegades as well. But overall, it's just being young, and a lot of these people are immature, and when you put them in a professional setting, it doesn't go too well. And a lot of the players are very immature as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're dealing with a career field where it's populated mainly by 17 to 20-year-olds who, I mean, they're just playing video games. Because there is that cultural stigma about like the scene, even though we are seeing it develop into this industry, there is still like you're playing video games about it, which, you know, in Korea, really? Wait, that's what we're doing here? I thought we were like, you know, like practicing like basketball and stuff, you know, isn't just the downtime in there? Aren't we all training for the NBA?
Double lift.
Double lift. Yeah, double lift. There we go. I didn't even think of that. That's beautiful. But there is that issue within it, mainly because you get a bunch of people who, you know, they're coming, you know, sometimes right out of high school. Like the one example I can think of would be like and I don't mean to call him out in any way. I'm just using him as like an example of a person I kind of know of. Okay, would be like Keith. You're a Jew. You know, he's a very young kid. You know, he's what, 17, 18. You know, he's like, it's really cool for him to see like how well he plays the game and whatnot. But, you know, he hasn't even finished high school, hasn't probably moved out of his parents' home, hasn't really been on his own, hasn't gone to college, gotten like a higher education, or ever been like within a job crunch in there. And so, you know, for him, he's got like this ability to where he can take this hobby and maybe get paid for it. He's not going to be like learning like all these professional things. You know, he didn't have to like really build a resume of job experience. He never had to like probably, well, and this is probably me speaking from ignorance, so I could be wrong in a lot of this, so bear that in mind. But I imagine that an interview for like an LCS spot, an LCS team, things like that, it's very different from like going up to.
Didn't you apply
to like a university
analyst job?
Oh yeah, I did that.
So you can rely to that being a standard for a few teams already. Like my interviews for Aware Gaming, which participate only on an ACS qualifier, was actually very professional. I had to send in my work, then I went to a talk interview and talk with me like for 2 hours or something, that I should explain myself, what's my approach on things, and then they gave me homework basically. You're gonna get this replay here, and then you're gonna make a work out of it, and then if you get through this, then you're gonna work with the players.
Okay. Well, that sounds professional. My point there is that some of the organization, you know, while some organizations do have a very professional infrastructure, just some of the people, because they lack like life experiences, may not have that same professionalism about them. I think maybe like one of the most infamous examples I can think of, and this is like, you know, old history at this point, was kind of like Reckles with Fnatic, though. You know, when he was originally on Fnatic, left them for then Alliance, now Elements, and then he came back to Fnatic. You know, kind of like the bit of the hub about that. That's really old news, so it's not.
Don't go on Ask FM. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Never do this again, Reckles.
From personal experience, Ask FM is a trap.
Okay. Yeah. So it's
I don't want to ask about it.
Yeah. So that's where it really comes from. And again, it's a very young industry that's still trying to find some of its identity in some ways. Like over in Korea, I imagine that the environment there is very professional with how they handle all their dealings. You don't get like these. I don't hear about at least like these like fines through KESPA or whatever. Like, oh, you're poaching this player. Like we kind of see Riot do sometimes. Not to criticize Riot policy at this point in time, but Korea's had this infrastructure for decades with other esports. They know how to run it there. They got some really big companies investing into it. So there's a lot of infrastructure over there to really be professional with it, and it is quite a all right career to go into over there, whereas here it's still budding, and it can be a lot more casual with it. You hear talks about like coaches being friends with their players, the focus with that. I think the highlight example of that would have been like old school Cloud9 when they had High. It's like, oh, it's just a group of friends who plays League together and they're really good.
Yeah, but at the same time they carry a stigma, which is what a lot of people don't realize about that team. Mm-hmm. And same thing with like Liquid and TSM, like these teams carry a professional stigma. They handle things properly, so at least behind closed doors. So
yeah,
right.
I mean, like I always remind that to the Crumbs interview I did a while ago. Like if you remember back in the days, like Dignitas was always marked as this group of friends. Like they are really good and close friends. They were never gonna exchange a player because they are really good fucking friends. Like, never saw like better friends before.
What is it like? It's like Kiwi Kid and Shifter is all that's left. Is that
right?
No,
not even that. They weren't on that golden age roster even. Like, and then Skara left the team. Like, whoa, what the hell? Skara's leaving the team? We thought this is a group of friends that will never break up, but well, it was more of a marketing thing than anything else, because they were a group of people that were trying to work together, but didn't manage to find a way to work together. And then they saw it was no option left than leaving. And it's the thing about esports. Like when I coach, like I have a group I'm coaching right now, and of course I'm in a certain kind of sense I'm friends with them, but in the end I am the coach. They are my players. I am the leader of the group, and they have to listen to me in the end. So I think that's where friendship and professionality cross the lines. But if I ask you something, like you, and of course you as well, Jacob, where, why, and how need esports improve their professionality?
The professionalism?
No.
You mean?
I think Riot.
Sorry.
I think.
Sorry.
I think Riot takes a really good. I think Riot takes a really good notion at that, because they do the things like the player summit, where they're coached to interact properly with PR people and with each other. I think that is a very good step. Unfortunately, it's almost not enough because players change all the time, and not every player gets to go to that. And some people just don't remember nor care. But I think that's a good thing to have. I think just holding organizations to a high standard is a good way to fix it. I think fans should start expecting orgs to act the way like a Cloud9 or a TSM or like a Liquid does.
Yeah, I agree, because when you think about like the friendship thing, like when you take that marketing approach with it, that makes it a more of a emotional situation. Then it's like, oh, they hang out, they enjoy spending time with each other, and then it makes it more of a and then it can lead the teams to not make proper changes because of like just like the PR that's already gone out of it, or like like these ideas of friendship, when they honestly need to make that like decision. Like Cloud9, people would like forever talk about removing High, like he was like the thing that was holding them back because he just wasn't mechanically strong enough in the mid lane. But it's like, oh, but then there's this synergy here. They all get along. Maybe that'll go off. And, right now it looks like because of how Cloud9 is failing to use Incarnation to his fullest effect, or he's failing to mess with the team, other issues popping up with the team, because you have to keep in mind Meteos is doing and then Balls is, where's he gone? Jeez Louise, come back to me. When you have those situations come up, then people can put on the rose-tinted glasses, but it's like those moves can be laid a long time ago. If you think about TSM, how successful they've normally been, I mean, they were talking about, this is back when last year in summer, they had Glebe, they were talking him up, he's going, we're going to cultivate him, be one of the best things, and then it wasn't going to work, and so Reginald said, all right, I got this Korean import, bless boy, let's go. And it was a really good move for TSM.
I think
It really
Jacob
was
thinks
good.
you're boring, Colin.
Excuse me.
We should roast him.
Yeah, roast me. Okay, yeah, just like
No.
There's a dirty. There's a
Jacob,
dirty
why you
thing.
do this?
Why you
Colin
do
was
this?
telling us.
Why you point it out? I
He
think you
was
deserve an
talking
honest
about
response.
Lucina, man.
Lucina, he couldn't see my point. You're welcome. You're welcome, boys and girls. All right, there's some
Dank
human
memes
injection.
right there.
Dank memes. What would Lust Boy do? That was pretty funny.
Well,
But-
what would he do to save esports is the question, right?
Well, yeah. What would he do to save esports? He'd make it professional. There you go. But no, it's when teams, when you get more, if you can get the unprofessional elements out of it, the fans expect professionalism. They want their teams to win. They want the best. Kind of make it more of that, probably somewhat of a cutthroat environment that I see from Korea. Is like, okay, if you fail to perform, you're out. Then like the level of play can improve within the region, and it will do better from a competitive standpoint. So that's my summary of that.
I think it sounds good up, and well, we can ask CRG fans how it feels to make this true every single year.
Hey, to be fair, they finally got rid of Link, so who knows? But till then,
well, when they asked me who I think will go towards for
Choke.
NA, I was for CRG, and I think I might be wrong there again. And now for the next question, to sum up the professionalist topic, I would like to ask, what do you think needs to be done so that esports is taken as a traditional professional sport?
I think that's fairly simple. Just keep doing what we're doing, keep growing.
I mean, it's moving slowly but surely. Like,
Yeah.
never did I think I was gonna walk into Books A Million and see freaking Call of Duty and League of Legends on the cover of one of the biggest magazines in the States. Like,
Could I have dreamed this as a kid, to play video games for a living? Like when I was
dude, I always wanted to do what I do now.
Yeah,
It's
it was-
freaking cool.
You know
Yeah.
what? When I was 8 years old and we got that Wii. No, wait. I was maybe a bit older, but never mind. We got that Wii and I bet my bros in Smash Bros. Brawl. Like I was fucking good, and I thought myself, why can't I go to the tournaments and beat all those people? And then a few years later, that Smash Dog comes out, and wait. People have been playing Smash competitive for years and I didn't know about that? What?
Right?
I was smashed and amazed by the content as well. At the same time,
Smashed.
I was down. I was crying. I could have played Smash competitive for years, even though I probably was never good enough. But you get my point. So, moving on to the next topic, of course. We already mentioned that a bit before, and it's the lack of money in esports. And I mean, some people live off click ad money, and some people have a steady job that get paid per month. And Jacob, you actually got you worked as Scope. Like, okay, come. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna say from my
Hold
experience.
on, I'm gonna close my office door. One sec.
Okay. Hold on,
Okay.
wait.
Okay, Colin.
This is where he just doesn't come back. He
No.
just runs out.
Now is
Go on.
Now is the time that we can talk bad about Jacob.
No, yes, okay, yeah. Blah,
People will come back late.
blah,
Yeah.
Smells like a wolf.
I agree with that.
Okay, what was your question? It's about
It's about advertisement money in esports, like being in general, and lack of money in esports nowadays. What's your take? on
So I'm gonna be really straightforward and say a lot of the times start out sites offer you, and this is not hating on anyone, just to be clear. I think a lot of the times start out sites offer you clicks for money, or like clicks per meal, which is like 1,000 views. I think that a lot of the time they offer that is because they're not expecting their writers to get a plethora of views. If that makes sense. So the payout's not too bad, but you're also getting content for your website. I know that sounds really fucking shitty, but it's kind of true. But sometimes there's the mistake of where you bring someone on that does get a lot of views, and then you have to pay them out pretty heavily. I've been in that position myself for something I wrote, which is kind of weird. But I'm not a big fan of click per view. A lot of professional entities don't do that. I know like Esports, they pay per article. I know Daily Dot, before you're like an actual employee, it's pay per piece. It's flat rate. I know the score is the same way before you're an actual employee with salary. So I think a lot of the times I want that to become the standard, because I think everyone's work should be valued equally. So whether you're gonna get, I don't know, a couple hundred views to a couple like tens of thousands, like I think if you're producing good content for someone's site, they should pay you equally. Obviously, like you're gonna have your bigger content creators that make more because they've been doing this for forever, but
That's how you push new people into the industry as well.
Yep. And I really want the pay per click to go away. I think it's okay for things like Gold Pretend, but flat rate is what I personally enjoy for people that I try to help.
What do you think would need to happen so that this CPM, that click per view, goes away and we can start going for a flat rate or pay for work standard in the industry?
I think a lot of your sites already have it, and I know a few that do. They have the money to be able to do flat rate stuff. They just don't, for the reason I specified earlier. But at the same time, like I understand why Gold Pretend does CPM as a little bit more. There's a little bit more if you're paying everyone that writes on Gold Pretend because they're such a big site, flat rate, then you're gonna be broke. So I'm honestly not sure what's gonna get rid of it, but I think we're getting to the point where Reddit's weeding out bad publications, and I'm not saying Gold Pretend's one of those because they're great, but I'm saying like Reddit takes notice of what's consistent and what's good. So, and yeah, I mean that's like, for a while there you had like every day there was either Esports Heaven, Daily Dot, or Score articles on front page that went consistent through March, like all of March. So
there are also the
Reddit
names.
takes notice.
I think at this point, I think the names also matter a lot. Like, I mean, I say this honestly because I think Colin's work is great, and but some of his articles didn't get the recognition I think it would have been worth getting. And then I compare, like, okay, it's the same, like, I got the criticisms today, and I mean, that's no joke, this really happened, and I was thinking myself, what the hell? I simply gave the link to someone on my friends list in League of Legends, and his criticism was, why should I watch this? You are not Monte Cristo nor Torrent. And I thought myself, wait, I'm not trying to be them. I'm trying to be myself, even though I create similar content, but their content would possibly go to the front page, even though mine is maybe sometimes equally as good. And
people don't like change.
Yeah. And I think this is a bigger problem in esports at the moment, because the industry is so new. Like, we have the 3 big names in content creation, and if there's not someone that can push your name, in this case, you'll probably not get up there, if you know what I mean.
You just have to be able to. You have to be able to have something to offer, and unfortunately, because of how many people, it's kind of the same way. Like I draw so many parallels every day from like the music industry. Everybody wanted to be a DJ. Now it's like everybody wants to be an esports journalist, and it's just like there's so many people that quality work isn't good enough anymore. And like Colin said earlier in the show, you find your niche, you find where you fit in, and you network. And when you start networking, it opens so many doors. Like, because that's the one niche piece people don't do, because a lot of people in esports are introverted. So you start meeting people, you're gonna start getting somewhere, because people are going to want to read your work. And it's the classic, like in music it was like, yo dude, check out my SoundCloud. Now it's like, yo dude, check out my article. And it's like, I see so many parallels to that.
It's the same. It's the same. Like,
It's self-promotion at the end of the day. But like,
can you read
yeah.
my 70-page long story or listen to my 3-minute song? I can relate to that. They were so good today with this.
This memeing, man.
Yeah, the thing memes, man. But well, I mean, Colin, I think you both started kind of a discussion today on Twitter with women in esports, feminism in esports, and we got to the few. I added the point like views over quality in terms of being more relevant in esports at the moment. Colin, what's your take on this topic, like views over quality?
Okay, because here's the one thing when it comes to views, and also kind of like where I think Jacob comes from when we're talking about the idea of getting rid of pay-per-click. It's because it's, I won't say easy, but I'm trying to think of it. The way that a point-and-click works, it doesn't promote like a high-quality work. It promotes rather more like a attention-getting work. You know, I think it was a point I remember reading on, like one of the things that interviewers like to do with Double Lift is that they'll interview him and then they'll like, you know, trip him up so that he says like the, you know, like the one like really quotable line, you know, like when he just goes off the cuff with it. And I'm pretty sure I'm pulling this from
and
like,
that's
a real
the title.
interview.
Yeah, that's the title.
Yeah, and then that's the title. And people are like, oh, what did Double Lift say about that guy? And they go on in and look at, and then it's like, then Double Lift goes and contextualizes it, but then it's like, okay, they got pulled in, they got interested by that, you know? It goes for like a clickbait kind of approach.
Wait. Another musical parallel, the hook line. Every song has a hook.
Yeah, which although like if a hook's good, you know, like and gets in your head, that's fine. I mean, like most genres use it.
If you're gonna do that though, do it in a lead, not in a headline. Yeah. That's what pisses me off about people that write esports articles. Stop putting your fucking hook in your title. Put it in your damn lead. Make it your first goddamn sentence in your article. Like that's how you do it. That's how it's done in real news writing. You say this is what you're looking forward to.
And what do you
I'm about to go off on a freaking rant.
What do you need on the title? The clickbait. You need a clickbait on the title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clickbait.
It's ridiculous, dude. Like, stop making your freaking titles clickbait stuff and just like it doesn't even like clickbait means like it's not true, which it does happen a lot in esports. But at the same time, like make your lead like and that's one thing like we talk about at the Daily Dot. Literally like every freaking day is leads because it's huge. Like, yeah, I'll pull up a couple articles. It's the biggest part of journalism that people fuck up every day. It's that first sentence because when people open up your article, that first sentence is what you need to. And it's not like clickbaiting because it's still accurate. Like it's just like this is what is happening. So hold on, let me find one.
Yeah. I'll let him finish this and then I'll go on my thoughts. We triggered Jacob.
Okay, so KT Smurf subbing in for Yasui and Gente. Odyssey Gaming mid laner. KT Smurf will fill the mid lane position this week for Cloud9 Tempest. Sources close to the player and organization tell the Daily Dot.
I won't read it.
What do you want to know more? And then if like it's so like important to contextualize a good lead, and that's what no one's and I like struggled with it so hard before working at Daily Dot, and it busted my ass. But stop putting your freaking stop putting your go-getter in your titles. It's so bad. It's so bad, and that's why people bring up the word clickbait all the fucking time on Reddit, and it's really annoying. Stop.
Right.
You heard it here first.
We had that. Yeah, you heard it here first. A little bit of a how-to from the professional himself, Jacob. You know, there we go. Yeah, because we can contextualize your advice as words from professionals. So we'll compile a book of statements later on that. We'll get it published on out.
Book signings after the show.
Yeah, book signings. Yeah, after the podcast, digital signings, of course. Anyway, so. What the devil was even... Okay, so quality over views in esports. I think that to a degree, if you produce the quality, the views will come to a degree. There is still the marketing element into it, but what will keep, what will tell people or what will get people to go share the article, to go spread it around, stuff like that, is the quality of it. Because you can get like... It's like... The two approaches is like you can trick 100,000 people, okay? Or you can slowly spread through word of mouth, through word of tweet, whatever you want to call it, through 50,000 people. Okay, now sure, like the 100,000, if it's pay per click, it's going to get you more views and whatnot. Okay, but maybe you get trash for it, maybe you get an ill reputation for it, and maybe people learn after a certain point in time. Okay, you know what, this guy's just full of shit. Whereas with the quality stuff, instead you can get the reverse trend, which slowly you can kind of build up a namesake for yourself, and then more and more people kind of come into what you produce. I think a really good example of that right now that I can think of is Ryan Tang of Go Pretend. The dude has a name to him now. Like his name, I feel like it carries weight amongst content creators. If he puts out an article, I mean, it's consistently front page of Reddit, and it's because he's really made a name for himself. He's gotten admiration from several other content creators. He runs the site in there. Thorin's given him a shout out before. I remember that. But then also his content is really good. It's fun to read. It's well researched and it's informative. And people notice that and they go, oh, hey, it's this guy. He has his reputation. He's done this work before. It's always really good. And so then he begins to build this fan base for him that then kind of grows into a network for it. So you can kind of
long time.
Yeah, it does take a long time, and that's why you kind of have to, as a content creator, I feel like your perspective cannot be on the views or the popularities or breaking into the mainstream. Okay, it has to be on self-improvement. It has to be on working for your craft and for the love of your craft. Because if you have like let's say that you're a person who's really good at marketing. Okay, let's just make that a flatline skill. So like what appeals to people, all that stuff. Okay, if your whole point is to get the views for it to make the side money, okay, you know exactly how to do that. But maybe your work isn't but you don't improve.
But maybe it's false. That happens all the time.
Maybe it's false as well. Maybe it's inaccurate. Maybe it doesn't hold up well. Maybe it's poorly written. But it gets the views for you. Okay, so does that happen? And I'm almost going to go an analogy here, which I might be able to relate to in music because that's something that's come up before. Right? Record companies. From the very few stories I've glimpsed of, and Jacob can confirm or deny this from his own personal experience from within the record company, they always think about what's going to sell within it because they're there to make money. They're there to use that, okay? I hear that constant talk from musicians, and I follow the rock scene in general, okay?
Oh, yeah.
So they know exactly, how to make a catchy hit that's going to pollute the airwaves, the next Call Me Maybe, shit like that, all right? And while it's fun and while it's okay, and for maybe like average content, it's okay. But then you don't get then you get the other side of it where it's not about the production, not about the content. I like the phone passing you guys are doing right now. It's pretty cool. Call me maybe. Yeah, I gotcha. Wait, let me get on this on my HTC phone. So I can't.
Holy shit! How can we work with this guy?
How can you not? Come on.
Man, fuck that shit. We're going Samsung. Motherfucker.
Yeah. Wait, join the cloud. Yeah, Samsung, baby. Samsung.
AG, baby.
AG. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm hipster.
Yeah. But whereas then you can, get other genres of music and to go back to the music analogy, which you got musicians who love creating music, and you can, if you listen to the albums, there's songs with weight, there's songs with meaning, and sure, maybe it's not so popular on the radio, but hey, those guys probably make enough to get by with it, live relatively well. Sometimes other bands not so much. That's a very hard industry to get into, admittedly, but if they make it work for them and they get this, they can get a self gratification out of it. That's good. To relate it back to esports, the relevant topic. Sure, you can go with the clickbait approach, but if you don't keep up the quality of your work, or if that's all you care about, then what's going to happen when the views go away? What's going to happen to you and your interest? You'll move on, you go to something else, and hey, for you as an individual with your life, that's totally okay. For an esports career, that's whatever, okay, you're a flash in the pan. But if your focus is about that quality of content, it's about learning from your mistakes, it's about elevating it, the fame can come in time, and it will. As you do that, you'll get recognition from those higher ups, those people who are seated in. They'll recognize you and they'll try and pull you up and say, hey, this guy deserves a job here, or this guy deserves everything. You should give him a look here. And someone will give you that chance. Someone will give you the opportunity. It's up to you to take it and to really own it. I mean, to make a relevant example, I think, like Monte Cristo, as far as fame he goes, I mean, he didn't start immediately. He didn't come to the scene and people like, oh, shit, that's Monte Cristo. No, he was a dude who did casting.
Grinded.
Yeah, he grinded like a motherfucker.
Years.
He grinded for probably like years on.
Warcraft 3 wasn't the game he started off? Warcraft 3 and
yeah,
then...
it was like StarCraft 4 maybe?
No, Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3, as far as I know.
Warcraft 3, was that it? Okay,
if I remember right.
I can't recall.
Even then, he grinded in League before he got hired in 2012.
And then from there, like even then when he was hired, and he was just a guy who cast OGN with a very niche audience in there. as far as like mainstream esports personality goes, the moment which made him one, at least in my understanding, was season 3 World's Desk when he fucking had that conductor hat on.
Yep.
Yeah, when he blew that
train.
whistle, he blew himself into esports fame, babe. That's exactly what he did. Never mind the goddamn phrasing. But that's exactly what he did. Suddenly, that's when I knew Monte Chris. Like, holy crap, this guy's hilarious. He's really blunt with it. He's accurate in how he talks about the game. That got me to finally make the move over to Korea to see the games there, to get to know him, his personality. But I mean, there was years of grinding for him before he got in that kind of fame.
Yep.
You missed
That's really what it is. It's
season
because
out.
he had that introverted. Yeah. It's because he had that introspective self-improvement approach to the game, and it really paid off for him.
Yeah.
Don't ever settle for what you are. That's my biggest. When you're
I'm laughing because it's so cliche motivational, but it's true.
Yeah, but when you're a content creator, like I wouldn't say I'm like on top or whatever, but like I've written some like notable news stories, and I want to get better. I want to expand. I want to like learn more. I want to read books like that and learn how to be the best fucking journalist in this industry. And I'm going to like keep working at your goal and never think that you're good enough.
And
to
also you
maintain.
also keep experimenting with new stuff. Like I even wrote Call of Duty articles a while ago, and if you asked me that 3 years ago, I would say, why do you even talk with me about Call of Duty? Like, you need to be open for everything in the industry as well, because the industry is constantly changing. I mean, 2 years ago, nobody would have thought that Call of Duty would ever come back after the COD Fear Pro Mod days. And now it's one of the biggest esports in the industry.
Yep.
So, I guess... looking over that, going for content creation to a more bigger lack of money in esports topic, and is, in my opinion, the lack of investment in challenger and amateur scene coming up. Because now, I can relate that to myself, because I'm a coach in the amateur scene, right? I'm not that big name in the coaching scene. I have my contacts here and there, but still, I'm not that too experienced. Or I'm not that guy called Daler, coaching Fnatic, or even probably coaching H2K, right? So right now I have this situation. I have an EU team that's full of solo queue players, unexperienced, and I want them to play tournaments against good teams. Then I look up on the Google side. Wait, there are no tournaments for me to play except Go for Low, Triforce Cup, and this League 1 tournament. Where the League 1 tournament is the most reliable one, because good teams play there, right? So, but wait, I can't do this for over a month, or 2 months, 3 months. Will League 1 still be relevant until then? Will be Go for Law is still relevant until then? But when is the next Challenger scene qualifiers? It's a while. It's months to it.
January.
Yeah, like
Jesus.
Like, we have July right now. Okay, for me in
So
Germany,
you got a whole year.
For me, it's in 1st July already in Germany. So I have half a year to 1 year to reach LCS. So what about that? What do we do as a player, as a coach, as a manager, as a organization in the 6 months between that? Nothing. Literally nothing. You can pay your players as much as you want, so they can practice, focus on the practice. But what do we need? We need tournaments, we need events, we need LANs. But where does it all come from? So what's your take on this overall situation? You can start, Colin.
Okay. I haven't looked a whole lot on this topic, but my few opinions are kind of formed from couple other conversations, as well as like the constant discussion, all right, as well as my own view of the competitive scenes within League of Legends. I feel like the lack of infrastructure and support for the amateur scene does kill a lot of the talent development within the region. I think that's why, or within, when I say region, I have to specify, within North America and Europe, because if you look at the situation over in China, you got a bunch of random billionaires, it sounds like, to my understanding, who just like say, hey, I want a League of Legends team. And, and it's a really huge industry within China already, with the gaming and esports. All right. And so they got a lot of leagues going on in there. You go over to Korea, you get huge companies like SK Telecom, sponsoring teams, Samsung sponsoring teams, and there's more amateur circuits around there for them to participate in as well. It's like it's fairly reasonable for you to be scouted or to join these amateur teams and get notice in there. And that's one reason why we see a lot of really talented players constantly being developed in Korea, because there is that level of infrastructure and support throughout the different throughout the spectrum of League of Legends competitive play throughout the region. Whereas in NA and EU, it's like it feels like challenger or bust for any chance of a professional career. And while every single while all the regions are like the highest one is like some kind of Riot affiliated sort of thing, to varying degrees, of course. The LCS being the two closest ones on the Riot's grasp, OGN being a little more removed, LPL being quite removed. Because you don't have that little infrastructure here, that's why we're seeing this problem where there's not a lot of local NA talent, because there's no real environment for them to donate that much time to the game full time, unless they get lucky enough to get into the Challenger Series, and even then that's sketchy until they get into the LCS. And I mean, to think of some other opinions, if you look at other esports like CSGO, where there isn't this exclusivity issue, and you get all these circuits, all these tournaments, a whole bunch of money coming into it, it's so much easier, I feel like. I could be wrong, so please tell me. Okay. It's easier for them to donate time to new talents, for people to get into as a professional player and to grow, to and perhaps improve. Not everybody does it, of course, but it's easier because there's just more support in the scene. Heck, when you think about it, like Smash, it's basically just a bunch of
guys,
like independent.
Can wait a second. I'm having strange lag spikes, so I cannot really record this right now. So, okay, sorry for interrupting you, Colin. But
no, you're fine. No, it wasn't you. It was
talking about Smash.
Yeah, to me it seems like the Smash industry, all of its tournaments, like there's no overseer to the tournaments. Like Nintendo wasn't even involved with those scenes. It was namely just sponsor and fan driven.
Still aren't really.
Yeah, and it still really is. And you look at how successful that is as like an esport within itself. Like that's like a really good model for self-driven entertainment, as far as also a bunch of up-and-coming talent moving into it somewhat. There's a lot of room to move into Smash Bros. It's probably fairly easy to get into Smash, not necessarily hard to go, well, not necessarily easy to go win, because there are some really talented people, and I guess I could say athletes within it.
Getting involved in the scene's really easy.
Yeah, whereas with League, because Riot does have this monopoly on the professional content for it, as well as like how they want to structure, how they want the narrative to come about, and not to criticize the company entirely, because they do a lot of really good things for it, and it's one of the most well-developed infrastructures that I think we've seen from most esports. But because of how exclusive it is and how like it's the one shot that you have, if you don't get into it, you're kind of just like stuck within a limbo as an amateur, because there isn't any like other sites or things to go host. There isn't. There's like IEM that you can go to, but even then you have to qualify through Riot's leagues to go to.
But you got to realize, like, and it's mentioned a lot, but like Richard and stuff is basically they told everyone you can't have another MOBA involved in your company, or you can't have League. Yeah, that's why people like DreamHack lost League, and that's why Dota is ESL 1. It's still Intel, but it's ESL 1 instead of IEM. They had to make a whole separate brand for Dota,
right? Yeah,
and Counter-Strike, because League didn't want, or because Riot like made them do so.
Wow. Yeah. Well, Counter-Strike is now back at IEM as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
but it wasn't.
Not a MOBA.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but ESL 1 was like made for Dota because
Riot wouldn't allow it.
Riot wanted exclusivity for League at IEM because they didn't want anything to do with their competitors, and a lot of other tournament organizers don't have League stuff now because they were told the same thing, and they said, we don't want to drop Dota. We have a dedicated fan base for Dota. Mm-hmm. We want to keep producing it.
Yeah, okay.
So they said, all right, you're shit out of luck. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good element to know. I wasn't aware of that piece, but when you do stuff like that, it's hard to really branch out and give other people opportunities. So that's really like the state of it, and I don't know what we'll see from Riot in the future with it, whether or not that they'll loosen up these things and allow the league to branch into other tournaments and not have that viewpoint of it. I don't know if that would be the case. I don't know if something will happen to where the LCS has to fundamentally change. Like, who knows what the hell could happen? So,
yeah.
But definitely, the state of it right now, like, it's incredibly hard, really, to go from amateur scene. That's why I think that for the time being, we're going to see more and more imports from countries who don't have that influence from Riot, who have more of an amateur infrastructure set up to where, you know, it's more viable to take that kind of path and maybe get professional when you have more opportunities. You know, until then, we won't see like a flux from players from Korea or China stop pouring out to other countries anytime soon.
Jacob, you worked a bit more closely with Counter-Strike as well, right? So how does it work there? Because when I worked with Pentasport for that one interview I made for them, I got to look a bit into the behind the scenes. Like they were people want to get to the team or to the clan. How is it called, to the organization, and play for amateur teams under their name. And like they said, one requirement you need to have, or you have team experience from tournaments, or you play pugs. And that's as a requirement outside of the game to join the organization and even try to go for an amateur team. And how do you get in the? Do you know how to get into the Call of Duty, CS:GO scene, Counter-Strike scene?
Honestly, pugging is really cool because I know a lot of players that pug on ESEA, and it's like $7 a month for ESEA membership, but it's not much. And a lot of people meet pro players through there because they do pug regularly. Pug is like your solo queue of pugging is your solo queue of Counter-Strike. So it's like basically if you're not pugging, then you're gonna play matchmaking, which is also like solo queue. But matchmaking, like when you get your higher ranks, like your global elites, everybody's a hacker. Yeah, so it's like, true. Why waste your time? Just go to ESEA where they have an anti-cheat, or like CEVO or Faceit, but ESEA is the popular one. Go on ESEA, download their client, pay the monthly fee, use their anti-hack so you don't play with hackers, and grind. And it's a lot easier because everybody's a lot more. There's no elevation. There is elevation, but there's not huge elevation. Like if you're a good player, then you know people in the industry. Like there's very many popular streamers that are just friends with professional players, and then they'll get on amateur teams or stuff. But at the same time, like ESEA has an amateur league as well, which they sponsor. So like Enemy just picked up a team in that league, like top of the league for NA. So at the same time, like it's a lot more open, and there's like 3 major leagues in Counter-Strike on top of the ESL stuff.
So there's a lot more variety that's definitely lacking off in League of Legends for the amateur scene. Like, I have really no option. Where do I send my team? I can scream all the time, but I can't really get them serious practice because you see how good a player is from becoming a pro and staying as a solo queue player when they go for tournaments, right? So, well, yeah.
I think the biggest thing is that League is team focused, whereas Counter-Strike is individual. Or no. League is individually focused, while Counter-Strike is team focused. Okay. Because you can become someone as a team rapidly in Counter-Strike. You can become a good team together, whereas if you're a solo queue player, you're shit out of luck unless you get picked up by a pro team or a challenger team. Like
I think that's the problem of marketing the system in League of Legends because as I see, like I've been a while in the challenger scene right now, and I see like players that are Diamond 1 or Master Tier where they have their status looking for CS or LCS offer, and they tried out for my team before, and just to be honest, sorry, you are by far not as good for an LCS team, and like you have no other choice to get into a team if like you don't get picked up by an organization. Like where did they pick up Steve for Rocket? They looked at the ladder. Okay, this guy is high tier. He played for that LTLC team a few tournaments. Like not that much experience, but hey, he played that one invitational before. We should look at him. That's how you get picked up. And like now I don't have that high caliber team, no names, but when I want to pick up players for tryouts, I look at the challenger ladder because I don't have other option. I can look for a player that played for a team before because there is no events to look out for, and I think this is in Counter-Strike a bit more team organized because of course, organizations will approach players like flashy players. Like, if what happens if Fnatic lose JW? Will they look for Penta's Crystal to pick him up as their new Alper, or will they try to pick Kenny S up from Titan? They could approach this, or even in the challenger scenes in CS:GO. But in LoL, you don't have that challenger scene outside of the right sponsored teams. And
the biggest thing with Counter-Strike is there's literally a tournament every day.
Yeah.
May not be the highest level of competition, but like FACEIT, CEVO, or ESEA are running something every day. There is a huge sample size to pick from in Counter-Strike and other games, whereas there's a very small, minute sample size in League.
We can call us lucky that there's this League One tournament where you can actually win money, not riot points. That's something that in League is totally lacking of. This amateur tournaments where you can win money. I don't want any riot points as a coach. I want money. If I win something, I want some money. I can win. I don't have anything with riot points. Like my players will be happy. Oh, cool! I can buy a skin, or oh, nice! I can get a new name change, or something like that. Like, but for me as a coach or for an organization, that's not that appealing, because good teams won't go for the tournaments. Why should they? This is more a time.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. You could be screaming for the same time amount of time and getting solid practice in instead of playing the tournament. For
the first time this season, though, you do have people like League One and Alpha Draft that are coming in and kind of fixing things. So it's changing very slowly, but even they don't have riot support, so it's kind of hard.
I think more sponsors will be needed, like, for this to be reliable source. But well, they're doing a great job at least, and I hope that it works, right? So it will be best for us. So I think this is a good transition, actually, for the last topic of this podcast. If you don't want to chime in another topic right now, because this is your last 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you didn't fuse the bomb, so we're going for the last.
Terrorist win.
Terrorist.
Terrorist win.
We got this dank memes. Where I should rename this podcast to Dank Meme Podcast with Jacob Wolf and Colin Nimer.
Dank memes, yeah.
Yeah, dank memes. Oh, sorry, I
needed so hard.
I hope. Oh. All right. So the last topic will be predictions for the future. We talked about so many things right now, like in esports business, how to get out as a content creator, organizers, what's lacking off in the scene, but what do we need from here? Like, I mean, we have new organizations coming up, new betting sites like Unicorn, and what do you see from here? Alpha Draft,
yeah.
League One, and I think I mean
the industry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The industry's gonna have more and more big money coming in. You see people like Intel sponsoring like Cloud9. You see an NBA owner buying into Unicorn. You see Alpha Draft sponsoring teams now in CS:GO. I think, but the biggest thing with League, I think League is going to it's becoming so commercialized now, like fucking fakers on Coke bottles in Korea. Like, we got into the point where like you big money sponsorships, and I can't go into details about something that's going on right now because I said I wouldn't. But there's another big dog about to come. There's another big dog about to come into this industry and sponsor a few teams. So
see, I wanted to guess, but I'm afraid that I'd be right, and then like I'd be immediately suspicious. So I'm just gonna shut up.
Yeah. So it's just becoming extremely more commercialized. So
yeah. No, that's one thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that the LCS format does do very well, is securing those other sponsorships through them, and like having like, okay, we know that it's going to be a good investment. Unfortunately, that comes at the cost of like amateur scenes not having that same level of investment. Thus stifling the talent development. But predictions, I agree with Jacob. I think it's only going to continue to grow. I think that we're at this point where because you have to consider like this thing where this generation that we live in, where we grew up with video games, all that stuff, and now we're kind of like becoming adults and producing content on it. We're gonna grow up, and we're gonna some of us will begin to have like other friends get them into it, and we'll have another generation of like kids coming around as well as this generation reaches adulthood, begins to spawn its dank offspring. Its first
Wait,
worlds
dank
would be
memes?
like Bad Luck Brian, or some shit like that, But then we'll pass on that legacy to the next generation, and we'll foster. It's exciting to think.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, like, could you have imagined that 10 years ago to be sitting here talking about video games being played in a tournament? I couldn't have imagined that. But what will our kids say this in 10 years? Okay.
Yeah, it's they'll
Everything that becomes popular becomes commercialized.
Yes.
League is no different.
Yes.
Everything that you can take money from, I think everybody will put money in. Well, I think that's a good summarize for our Hold the Lane podcast around esports business. And well, in the end, we are content creators, so we focus a lot more on that. But seeing my phone, it's late at night here in Germany. I think we should cut to an end. So first of all, Jacob, do you have any shoutouts left?
Shoutouts to the Daily Dot. Shoutouts to everyone at the Daily Dot. Kevin Morris, Ian Barker, Jared Wynn, Richard Lewis, Callum Leslie, etc. Probably do more shoutouts. Shoutouts to Esports 7, Gfinity, Gilberton, and final regard. If you're a content creator and you're watching this, feel free to contact me via Twitter. I am more than happy. I'm more than happy to. I'm more than happy to help out. So that's always been my goal, is to help others. So
I think we should create a hashtag HTLP, right? HTLP. Got that.
HTLP.
We're gonna hype that hashtag up, guys. So before we hype that hashtag up, we have Colin Nimer. Do you have any shoutouts left, my friend?
Shoutouts to Ryan Tang for picking me up and really getting me into this scene. You are one of the most
my boy.
Yeah, Ryan Tang, you are a godsend to this industry for what you've helped done for content creators, and you've started many wonderful careers off of it. Like, his boy, like TK, he started off as a Gold Pretend content creater. Now he's in the fucking Liquid House. He has an analyst. That's so fucking cool. It's like, I talked to that guy before he was cool. He was always cool. I remember doing a podcast with him when I did my own little Gold Pretend Oracle panel, which I just had to stop doing because of time constraints. Shoutouts to Ryan Tang and Gold Pretend. Shoutouts to Liquid Legends for giving me the opportunity to work with them. I look forward to keeping in touch with them and continuing to work for them. My next big piece is going to be through them, as usually my big pieces are. But they've done a lot of work for me, and they've done really high quality stuff for me. And, it's namely a passion project over there. So the fact that we do really well just based off our own drive is amazing. So thank you guys for that. Shout outs to Alex right here for doing a lot. Like, you got me in connection with Jacob right now. And
come here for the hug, guys. Come here.
Yeah, come here. Yeah, across the country. Yeah, that's it, boys. Look, guys. NA and EU can love one another. We don't have to be their enemies anymore. We can just accept it, guys. It's okay. NA's still the best. We won World War II. Anyways.
sorry. We have Fnatic, and you have TSM.
Yes,
this won't happen.
No, and I'm looking to betray NA anyway. I was like, hey, Fnatic, you need an analyst, right? Anyways, shout outs to everyone who's inspired me within the scene, even if you don't hear it. So Monty, and like how I model a lot of what I try and do after him. Like, I set a standard and try to match it as hard as I can. Not necessarily copy him, but just like, damn, the work ethic. Thorin for helping me think about contextualizing stuff. Shout outs to, this is a personal one, my mom for being ever supportive of me throughout this whole thing. The fact that I can talk with her about most of this stuff and, be understood, listen, it's really cool that I'm able to do that. And it's namely because of just how much support my family gives me. So thanks to you guys. And to every single fan that somehow finds a way to enjoy my work and continue to support me. I hope I can live up to expectations and we'll all go places.
All right. So thanks to you both for taking the time and joking with me around and talking about silly stuff and sometimes also about video games. And of course, to all of you watching, thanks for tuning in and keeping for this hours of long talks of silly stuff and yeah, a lot of stuff and more stuff and even more stuff. And now go to Twitter and use the hashtag HTLP for your opinions and your thoughts on the topics of this podcast. And of course, if you want to share your topic for the next podcast, feel free to use the hashtag HTLP, guys. We're gonna hype that up. We're gonna say hello to everybody and hype that shit up. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. This was DrPuppet Weber. I always forget my name, right? This is not the first time today. I was recording another video and I did the same mistake again. I'm not used anymore to do videos. Oh,
It's
damn.
fine.
Alright, so again, here's your host, Alex DrPuppet Weber, and this was the Hotel Lane podcast with Colin and Jacob. So thanks for watching. Bye bye, guys. Adios, amigos. We see us on the next time.
Sign up.